Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. This is the next lesson in the beginner series that's available over at mandolessons.com that gets you from playing, having never picked up the instrument, through playing your first song and scale and tune and chords. So this lesson we're going to learn the G scale. We've been working in the key of G. In the previous lesson we learned to sing and play the chords to the folk song Cindy. And in this lesson we're going to learn the scale, the G scale, so that in the next lesson we can learn to pick out the melody. So I'll play through the G scale once. One really helpful thing in terms of learning to play scales is really to be able to hear what a major scale, a G major scale, or any major scale sounds like. It may sound really familiar, and if you can really get that sound really concreted in your, is concreted the word? I don't know. Really concreted in your head, I'm just going to go with it, then it'll really help you sort of know what note's coming next in the scale, and if you hit a note that's not in the scale, it'll sort of stick out to your ears, and you'll be able to sort of identify the wrong note in question. So I'll play through it. We're going to learn 2 octaves of it, which means we're going to sort of learn it in 2 different pitch levels. The first sounds like this. And the second octave sounds like this. The second octave going back down. And the first octave going down. So it sounds like that. You may think of it as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Those sort of syllables might sound familiar to you. That's called solfege. But just sort of getting that sound in your ears is really important. And I recommend just sort of whether singing that little scale out will really kind of help you identify it. So then when you go do, re, mi, fa, and you hit a note that's not quite right, it's gonna go, ooh, that's not it. And then you'll sort of identifying the wrong note in question is one of the most important steps in kind of learning to play scales. So I call these 2 scales octaves apart because an octave is the same note in a higher pitch. So our lowest note is the open G string. And then we go up the scale. And we end on the 5th fret of the D string. We'll get to this in a second. And that sounds very similar to the open G string. And it's the same note. They're both Gs. But this G is higher than this G. So these 2 notes are called an octave apart. And that comes from octave being 8. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 0, 1, 8, 1, 8. And then the same sort of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Too hard to sing. So identifying those notes is always helpful. So we have the first octave, or the lower octave, and the higher octave. So let's get into putting these notes under your fingers. So the first note, open G string. In terms of thinking about the right hand just for a second, let's just do all downstrokes for now. We can add in the upstrokes later. So we have open G string, no fingers necessary. 2nd fret, so right there with your first finger is an A. I'll say the notes, the names of the notes, but don't feel left behind if they don't mean anything to you right now. In future lessons, I'll talk about what notes are happening on the instrument, but right now I'm just going to say them and sort of repeat them, and that way they'll work their way into your brain subconsciously. And when I come back to sort of talking about what these notes mean, they won't be totally foreign because you'll just have heard me say 2nd fret, A, a million times. and that'll make it a little easier to kind of get some of the music theory in your head. But for now, let's just focus on the sound that's coming out of the instrument. So we have open G, 2nd fret is an A, 1st finger, and then with our middle finger, we're going to hit the 4th fret, all on the G string, same string, and then 5th fret with our ring finger. So all together, it sounds like this. Open, 2nd fret with your 1st finger, 4th fret with your middle finger, 5th fret with your ring finger. And let's go back down, starting with our ring finger, down to the 4th, middle, down to the 2nd fret with your pointer, and then open. When you're moving up and down these scales, it can be helpful to keep your fingers down as you go. So open, 2nd fret, and if you watch as I put my next finger down, my pointer finger stays down, and then same when I put down my ring finger. And that can help sort of smooth out the sound. If I pick up my fingers every time, it can sound like this. Versus the nice smooth sound of so try to keep that. I'm not perfect by any means. Once I start playing a little faster, sometimes my fingers get flying, and it may happen to you as well. It's totally natural, but sort of the less work you can ask your left hand to be, and the more kind of efficient the movement, the smoother all the music's going to come out. So it's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. So let's do that again. Let's just go up and down on the G string. Open, 2, 4, 5, 4, 2, open. Again. G, A, B, C, B, A, G. One more time. G, A, B, C, B, A, G. And then so let's go back up to that 5th fret. G, A, B, C. Our next note is going to be the open D string. Next string up. So we have G, A, B, C, D. And then our fingers are going to repeat that pattern we just learned on the D string. So it's going to be open, 2, 4, 5 with the same fingers. Open, 2, 4, 5. And then back down, 5, 4, 2, open. Back up. 2, 4, 5. Back down. G, F sharp, E, D. Back up. E, D, E, F sharp, G. Sorry about that. 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger, open, 2, 3, 4. So let's add those two sections together. So you have open 2, 4, 5 in the frets on the G, and then open 2, 4, 5 on the D string. And that creates your first octave of the G scale. So it sounds like this. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. Let's try that again from low to high. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. Now let's go back down. Remember to think about those left hand fingers and keeping them down. 5, 4, 2, 0, 5, 4, 2, 0. Back up. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. Let's stop right there. So this is both the end of our first octave and the beginning of our second octave of the G scale. So we're going to learn the second octave now. It starts on this 5th fret of the D string. It's a G, open G, high G. So we're starting on the high G and continuing up. So our next note is going to be the open A string. So we have G, A. Let's try that again. G, A, and then second fret, B, and now third fret with our middle finger, C. So let's do just those 4 notes. We have G on the D string, open A, second fret on the A is B, third fret is C. G, A, B, C. Now, your finger might want to play the 4th fret, but just listen to how that sounds if you play it, and it might sound a little off to your ears. And that's great if it does, because it means you've got the sound of the major scale firmly implanted in your brain. So it sounds like this if you play the 4th fret. And there's something that sounds a little off about that. Versus. Sounds a little wacky. So it's that 3rd fret is really important with your middle finger. So we have 5 open, 2, 3, 2 open, 5 is the first half of the 2nd octave of G. So let's do that. Let's go up. 5, 0, 2, 3. And then we're going to repeat that pattern, continuing up. 5, 0, 2, 3. Got to the top of my singing range again. 5, 0, 2, 3. 5, 0, 2, 3. So that's the whole 2nd octave of the G scale. Starts in the 5th fret of the D string. Open A, 2nd fret. 3rd fret, 5th fret, open E string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. So now we have the low octave, sounds like this. Starting on that note, the 2nd octave. Ends on the 3rd fret of the E string. And now let's go back down from there. And again. Up from the very bottom. 0, 2, 4, 5. 0, 2, 4, 5. The 2nd octave, starting on that 5th fret. 5, 0, 2, 3. 5, 0, 2, 3. Back down. 3, 2, 0, 5. 3, 2, 0, 5. And again, back down, starting on the 5th fret. 5, 4, 2, 0, 5. 4, 2, 0. So that's 2 octaves of the G scale. That's going to give us everything we need to know to play the melody of Cindy, which we learned the words to and the chords for in the last lesson, and that will be in our next lesson. So now let's start thinking about the right hand a little bit, and just try to get it to go down, up, and alternate like that. So we have down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and again, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and back down, starting on a downstroke. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And again, starting on a downstroke on the 5th fret. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So just play around with that, go up and down the scale. If you can invent some little patterns for yourself, that's great. I also might create some lessons that have some scale patterns in them. But kind of play around with that melody or that scale, and it doesn't really matter what you play. Oops. Just gonna go up and down. No right or wrong answers. Well, don't go up that high, but. And just kind of play around with it and get used to it. And then once you're ready, move on to the next lesson in the series, and we'll learn the learn the melody to Cindy. So thanks for watching. If you find these lessons useful, there's a couple ways to donate over at mandolessons.com, and that's always very much appreciated. But they always will be free. So the most important thing is having fun with the music and yeah, just getting to play music. So thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.